Okay, so in this video today, I will be talking about the Freemasons. I will be talking about the Illuminati and apparently a top secret space force or space program that my father is involved in, and my father, who has informed me he is a Freemason and works for the CIA. He told me this back in 2010. And then also a top secret project that was declassified. I can't remember when it was, but it was leaked to the general public, called MK Ultra, which MK stood for mind control, and was actually based in Canada, in Madison, Wisconsin, and it was actually the CIA ran it. If you actually look into it, it's called Project MK Ultra. And Dr. Cameron Green was a big piece of MK Ultra, and he would experiment on victims in the psychiatric unit, and he would experiment on them with prescription medications and psychological techniques to basically look for a better way to make them more submissive and controlled. So where do I begin with this? I've had people reach out to me who I will not name, and some of them who have reached out to me that don't care if people find out who they are, that have given me bits and pieces of the information that I am speaking about in this video. Where to begin? And when I was initially given this information and told about all these things, when I was told about Project MK Ultra, when I was told about the top secret space program, when I was told about the Illuminati being affiliated with the Freemasons, I didn't take that seriously. I didn't believe it was possible. I didn't believe it was real, or just like, that's all stuff on TV. It doesn't really happen. Oh, sorry, I'm like shaking trying to talk about this because it's very scary to talk about it after what's happened to me. Okay, so where to begin? These just kind of, I don't even know how to link all this together for you guys. I wouldn't say it's well known, but I mean, if you know who the Freemasons are and you know who the Illuminati are, there's been whisperings and rumors that if you're a Freemason, you're probably involved with the Illuminati. Now, people don't even believe the Illuminati exists or is real, or it's just a cool group you want to be a part of because it makes you feel cool. It does exist, and I actually met, I don't even know if to call him an ex-Illuminati member or if he was still affiliated, but I met him on his deathbed, and he told me quite a bit about the Illuminati, that people aren't paying attention, and he even told me like the location of an Illuminati temple that used to be in his name, that he owned, and the Illuminati actually did come and purchased it from him, and it's a cheese factory now, but they have like temples all over the place or something where they go, and I don't know what they're doing, but he was very insistent and kept telling me about something called the Protocols of Zion, which he told me those protocols are basically what the Illuminati is run by. I looked into the protocols, and if you look into the protocols, they're kind of fucked up. Like it talks about controlling the masses or something like that. Now, I would just run into people that and this is just one person. There were others. There were a couple few that started talking to me about the Illuminati, and I will not name them, and some information I'm just not going to include in this video. But if you've watched any of my other videos, you'll know that my dad also told me he is a Freemason. And knowing that, I'm having Illuminati people show up talking to me about Illuminati. My father's a Freemason, and then there's whisperings that if you're a Freemason, you're probably involved with the Illuminati. Now, I'm not totally sure what the connection is with the whole Illuminati Freemason thing, but my experiences so far with everything, I was told by a few individuals about Project MKUltra, and that my father, they told me, had inflicted severe psychological damage upon me, and that I was a victim of MKUltra. And that I had been experimented on, and that's why all the weird stuff happens around me. Why psychologists will call me and say they can no longer work with me, and in one instance, my psychiatrist actually died back in Washington State. Her name was Elaine Prichette, and she had a practice in Centralia, Washington, and she died in 2016, shortly after I started talking to her about my father and the abuse and the CIA. So where was I with this? Project MKUltra. So some of the information that was given to me was that Project MKUltra is basically used to cover up the existence of such a space program that apparently my dad is involved in. I don't know much about it. I just know that I've had a lot of strange people show up in the past 5 years now, and I mean, I'm pretty familiar with government people, military people, government backgrounds, but the last 5 years, the people that have shown up have been Illuminati, Freemasons, people with government backgrounds that I've never even heard of. Like one was called MUFON, and it's MUFON, and it's in the middle, it's UFO. It's basically like it's like an unidentified flying object sector part or something of the government. I don't know. But that's basically it. I don't know why there's Freemason Illuminati involvement showing up all the time. But what I have been told by a couple of different sources is Project MKUltra is real. They've told me I'm a victim of it, that my father knows, and that that's why weird, strange stuff happens to me, that I'm not crazy, and that this MKUltra project is basically being used to cover up the existence of some kind of top secret government space program or space force. I think space program sounds a little bit more legitimate, to be honest, at least for me to wrap my head around. So that's that. What else do I want to include? I say that's just pretty much it. It's a lot to take in. I would really highly recommend, if you are watching this, to do your own research, especially if you live in Wisconsin. Especially if you live in Wisconsin, to do your own research into Project MKUltra and what was done. They actually experimented on little kids. They experimented on psychiatric patients, and the damage they did was irreparable. Was irreparable damage to these individuals, and They did it with psychological torture techniques. They did it with prescription medication, and they actually made a movie, like a Hollywood movie, about MK Ultra, and it's called American Ultra. And what American Ultra is it's about a sleeper cell assassin, to where he is just a regular citizen by day, and he's been mind controlled or psychologically messed with to be an assassin when programmed to assassinate. And it's a real movie. What else? So project, I would highly recommend you research and look into Project MK Ultra. As for the space program, I don't know, but honestly, I believe anything at this point. I don't know much about that. I just know that I definitely had a lot of government people showing up with strange backgrounds, and they're all consisting of people that are working with the Air Force, that work at airfields, that and I was actually born on an Air Force base. I'm a military brat. I was actually born in Tacoma, Washington at the Fort Lewis Air Base, which is now known as Joint Base Lewis McChord. They renamed it, but I was actually born at an air base, and all the people showing up around me in the last 5 years have been affiliated with the air base, this organization called MUFON, which deals with UFOs. And my ex-husband at the time, well, we used to be married, but he's my ex-husband now. At the time we were married, he also gave me information about this, and he warned me about all this, and I didn't believe him. I didn't believe anything he was talking about. I thought he had PTSD, or maybe he was nuts. But after my experiences and what's happening to me now at North Central Healthcare, it's definitely not made up. And he let me know. He let me know what they do, and what they did to him was the same thing that they have recently done to me. They fabricate a bunch of evidence against you. They call you dangerous, a danger to society. They call you mentally ill, mentally unstable. They accuse you of being schizophrenic, and put you on a bunch of medications so you can't communicate with people, and it actually does make you look crazy or insane. And this was done to him at Fort Lewis, now Joint Base Lewis McChord. And he told me that they weren't even trying to hide it with him, that the psychiatrists there knew what they were doing. They put him on 24 pills a day, and he was basically brain dead for speaking out about a conspiracy that was going on that he also told me about, in which he was special forces at the time, deployed in Afghanistan, and instead of actually fighting the Taliban, it was all just a huge cover-up, and they weren't fighting the Taliban. They were actually friends with the Taliban. They'd have tea with them in the morning, pretend to shoot each other or actually shoot each other, and then later in the day they would go and trade opium supplies to grow opium for vats of oil. So we would give them opium supplies, and they would give us vats of oil, and it was all under like Project Spider Helm and Shield or something. He told me about this, and his mother growing up was an addict, and it basically ruined his whole life. And knowing that he went to go and serve his country to go and poison America or poison the world with more supplies to grow more drugs really pissed him off. So he started telling people about what had happened, and the fact that we weren't actually fighting the Taliban. And he got into even more conspiracy, and when he started talking about it, they did the exact same thing they did to me, they did to him. They fabricated a bunch of evidence against him, got him falsely committed, forced him to take medication that made him nearly brain dead, And if he tried to communicate or seem mentally stable at all, they would do everything in their power to make him look mentally unstable and fabricate a bunch of evidence against him. And he also let me know, so he ended up falling into even more conspiracy at this point. And basically, that kind of gave me an aha moment of like, oh, you know, like now I get the whole crazy veteran with PTSD thing. They're all talking about the same thing. All of these people that have PTSD or get illegitimized by the mental health care system, these veterans, are all talking about the same thing. They're not all crazy about crazy different things. They're all talking about the same thing. They're all talking about some kind of Space Force, Air Force thing. They're all talking about some kind of CIA project, and they're all talking about, you know, other things that we're doing that we shouldn't be doing. So that was his information towards me, and he also let me know that he was also one of the other people that let me know that I was a victim of Project MK Ultra. That I was a victim of Project MK Ultra, and that my father was involved, and that he was in a Space Force or space program. The MK Ultra was being used to cover it up. He also told me some other things that I can't say I have run into or know much about. Like, he would talk to me about Nazis, and he talked to me about Nazis and told me that after World War II, they immigrated over here and helped us build up our NASA space program, which if you do actually do your research, there are some people in the NASA space program that do have backgrounds with the Nazis. I'd have to actually research that on my own before legitimately saying that, but he would tell me about that. And so that's just the information that I've been given, and it's very appalling that the mental health care field is basically being used to abuse anyone that speaks out about what's going on, illegitimize them, call them crazy, and make them look mentally unstable. So that's it. I went over the Illuminati, I went over Freemasons, weird Air Force stuff, people showing up. And it would always just be like Air Force people. It's so weird. And then I was born on an air base. And then Project MK Ultra, which if you live in Wisconsin or if you're watching this video, please look up Project MK Ultra. It is extremely disturbing, and more people should know about it and know the truth about what happened. So that's it for now. I'm logging out.